If everything goes according to plan, SpaceX's enormous Starship rocket, which will eventually be used for voyages to the Moon and Mars, will make its first attempt at orbital flight in just 2 months from now. The Starship that SpaceX is constructing will have the capability of transporting both passengers and freight to destinations as far away as the Moon and Mars. The vehicle is made up of two parts: the first stage, which is a booster named Super Heavy, and the second stage, which is an upper stage spaceship called Starship. Hello guys, and welcome to Techmo. Today in this video, we will talk about the latest news regarding the launch of the SpaceX Starship into orbit. Make sure you stay tuned till the end of this video. Both the Starship and the Super Heavy are going to be propelled by SpaceX's new Raptor engine, with 33 of them powering the Super Heavy and only 6 powering the Starship. Both of them are going to be designed to be entirely and swiftly reusable. Elon Musk, founder and CEO of SpaceX, stated that the business is on track to have enough engines shortly for the first Starship Orbital test flight, despite the fact that it is difficult to produce such a large number of engines. According to a tweet sent out by Musk on Monday, we will have 39 flight-worthy engines completed by the end of next month, then another month to integrate, so hopefully May for orbital flight tests. This was in March 21st. Although SpaceX has already carried out a number of test launches of the Starship, those launches utilize prototype upper stage vehicles powered by a maximum of 3 Raptor engines and reach an altitude of no more than 6.2 miles, which is 10 kilometers. The forthcoming orbital test flight will be the very first time that a Super Heavy has ever been launched into space, and it will also be the very first time that a Starship with 6 engines has ever lifted off the ground. 4 of the 5 individual sub-reviews that originated from Boca Chica, Texas have been finished, with the most recent one being a consultation that was required by the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966. This indicates that all actions that were out of the FAA's control have now been finished. At this point, the completion of the PTEX is solely the responsibility of SpaceX and the FAA, as well as a lone intern responsible for reviewing comments. As a result, it would appear that the Federal Aviation Administration is on schedule to make the environmental evaluation public by the end of the month. Multiple testing of Stage 0 has already been conducted by the SpaceX crew. Stage 0 contains all the launch pad infrastructure, such as the orbital tank farm, the launch tower arms and mount, as well as the piping that feeds fuel to the spaceship through a quick detach arm. The assembly has been finished by the 2 primary characters of the flight, the Duo 724, which was indicated at taking place in this significant mission. This past weekend, the nose cone of Ship 24 was hoisted and placed at the Starbase build site within the high bay. As a result, Ship 24 is now completely stacked. The spaceship gazer did a good job of capturing the view from up close. It looks very wonderful. We are hoping that it will be moved to the orbital launch site for testing as soon as possible, ideally within the next week. It can then unite with its mate, the Super Heavy Booster 7, to create a stronger version of itself. SpaceX has just sent its newest Super Heavy to the launch site at Starbase. This comes after the company quickly repaired the damage the rocket sustained during its initial round of testing. You should keep in mind that after this photograph of the internal damage was revealed, the immediate consensus among fans and close watchers was that Booster 7 was beyond repair. Instead, it seems that SpaceX was able to disprove those assumptions and somehow fix the upgraded Super Heavy to the point that it was worthwhile trying it again, fewer than 21 days after having returned to the high bay on May 6. After being rolled back to the launch site, B7 was put on the orbital launch mount for the second time. The prevailing consensus was that as soon as Rocket 7 completed its structural tests, SpaceX would start installing Raptor V2 engines. This was the common assumption. A little observation on the current Raptor situation: several times each day, SpaceX is putting its Raptor engines through their paces in order to better understand their capabilities and boundaries. This month, SpaceX will undoubtedly have a sufficient number of its Raptors available for the orbital trip. Now, it is up to SpaceX to decide whether or not it wants to repeat Rocket 7's crash-proof or structural testing to guarantee that its fast repairs were successful before moving on to static fire testing as it was originally intended. There is still reason to have hope for the very heavy prototype, and this week we'll see the scheduling of new test windows. Importantly, the return of the rocket to its launch site coincides with another regulatory application being submitted by SpaceX in order to conduct a test flight. Through this application, SpaceX seeks the authority of the FCC to add another frequency in order to communicate data to the Starship spacecraft in preparation for an orbital test flight. It will be valid for 6 months beginning on the 21st of this month, and it is essential in order for the Commission to be able to coordinate with other government users of radio frequency, such as the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and the Department of Defense of the United States of America. The launch frequencies of the SpaceX Starship were described in detail in a filing that SpaceX submitted to the FCC in the year 2020. Last week, the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, gave SpaceX permission to add another frequency band. This permission was granted at the same time as the FAA's pending environmental study of the firm proceeded forward, which was also timely. It is anticipated that a battery of tests will take place very soon, ultimately paving the way for the first orbital voyage of a Starship after this. Even SpaceX Chief Executive Officer reaffirms Elon Musk's determination to land humans on Earth by 2029. We should be able to land people on the surface within the next decade. In a recent interview with CNBC, Gwen Shotwell, who works for SpaceX, makes this assertion. In point of fact, these remarks come at a time when there is widespread concern that SpaceX would not reach its goal of carrying humans to Mars. This is on account of apparent delays in the production of its flagship rocket spaceship, as well as Musk's recent distractions with Twitter. In the end, Musk and SpaceX have decided to stick to their ambitious plan for a primitive journey to Mars, despite the fact that the flagship spaceship vessel is still in an unproven stage of development. Before SpaceX can even consider a potentially game-changing mission to Mars, the company must first demonstrate that their spaceship is prepared to launch into space and complete the trip without issue. Although we have been able to safely land robots on the surface of our neighboring planet Mars, no human crew has ever attempted to make the journey there. First, we have to get a sizable delivery to the surface of Mars. After that, people will begin to give it more serious consideration. Shotwell predicts that during the next 5 to 6 years, people will recognize that this will be a legitimate location to visit. According to her estimation, based on the time frame and Musk's targeted date, a human landing on Mars would take place in the year 2029. And after that, a migration of a significant number of people will take place in the late 2030s. Musk has stated in the past that he desires to have a permanent metropolis established on Mars by the year 2050. Insiders with knowledge of SpaceX operations claim that the business intends to launch missions to Mars from Earth for the remainder of this century. The goal of these missions is to assist in the development of multiple cities on Mars, as well as the acceleration of human exploration of the Moon. In the interview, he warns that, given the repeated delays to NASA's much-touted Artemis Moon program, the planned schedule may also prove to be a little unrealistic. When asked about the feasibility of this schedule, the well-known internet rocket scientist Scott Manley said, "I am convinced that SpaceX can do it faster than anything short of an Apollo-level program. They have the advantage of actually creating gear with the concept in mind, unlike NASA, which only indicates in a general sense that SLS are essential to their Mars effort," he added. Of course, in the end, only time will tell whether starships will change humans into a civilization capable of inhabiting multiple planets. That's all for today. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time.